podcast is rated PG-13. Parents strongly cautioned. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Do not touch me again.
Then don't take my stuff.
You have no idea what you are dealing with.
Shakespeare in the Park?
You here with a mission, sir?
I am.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching every movie on the top 250 movies of all time list, according to IMDb. You can go to our website, mission250filmcast.com, where we have our list frozen, and you can see what's coming up next and check out all of our older episodes as well. I am one of your hosts, Denny, and joining me are
John
and TC.
And this week, we have a very special guest.
Oh, hi, I'm Stuart Wombat Knocked from the CAGCast.
Yeah, co-host of CAGCast, co-host of Uninformed Opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Of which John is super fanboy of, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, God, I've listened to you guys for, I don't know, over the last 5 years, just pretty constantly. So, yeah, big fan.
Nice.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
It's nice to know that we have a fan.
Isn't it, though? You know?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have a fan, right? There's got to be someone listening.
I'm a fan of myself. Does that count?
As
long as you count yourself, right?
Yeah.
Is that what I was going to say too, Denny?
I mean, you guys, I'm assuming you all have like moms.
Well, you've got, yeah, exactly. I was going to say we have relatives.
Yeah,
my
mom doesn't listen to this shit.
My mom doesn't know how to use computers. Yeah, she doesn't know about this.
I've been hosting a podcast for 12 years. I don't think my mother's ever listened to one episode.
I'm sure you're doing great, honey.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that, like a radio show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mom.
Internet on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this week we are doing number 168, which is the 2016 movie Captain America: Civil War, directed by Anthony Russo and Joe Russo. The synopsis is: political involvement in the Avengers activities cause a rift between Captain America and Iron Man. And I guess, so John, really quick, would you want to run down and tell what we do on this podcast each week?
Yeah, so a little over a year and a half ago, we were trying to figure out a way that we could all hang out once a week and do something constructive since we all kept moving to different places. So Danny came up with the idea of us watching a movie a week, and then we had to figure out what movie to watch. So then Danny also came up with the idea of freezing the IMDb user top 250 list in time, and then we're just going backwards from that list. So about a year and a half ago, we froze that list, and then each week we watch a film. Then we sit and talk about it, basically. Denny goes over some facts and figures towards the end, usually. And that's about it.
Yeah. And sometimes, very rarely, we have a very special guest with us. And I guess, today. Wombat, to start us off, how do you feel about the Marvel Universe in its comic book / movie form, and whatever kind of backstory you want to give for yourself before talking about this one specifically?
That is a hefty question. I mean,
hey, we got
time. Yeah.
You know, I would say I'm a comic book, fan. If you say you're like a big, like super nerd, then people ask questions that you just don't know the answers to. But I'm pretty deep. For me, and oddly enough, the comic books that I read in the late 80s, early 90s, I was actually a big Captain America comic book reader.
Oh.
So these Captain America movies, actually, they mean a lot to me. It almost sounds kind of corny in a way, but there's a lot of that movie and the amount of things that they really do right, even from the beginning. I mean, we could talk about Iron Man, and we could talk about, the genius of the structure of the building of the world.
Right.
And Kevin Feige, I believe I'm pronouncing it right. And if not, get used to it because I'm going to pronounce it wrong the whole movie.
We do that all the time. Don't worry. Yeah. We're quite proud of it, actually.
So, Kevin Feige was a man with a vision, no pun intended, and that he was able to start in 2008 with Iron Man and able to follow it through and able to keep that, a connection there in a way that no film studio has ever done before.
So is Kevin the guy that's behind all this sort of interweaving? Is he kind of the mastermind there? Because that is something that's amazing.
Yeah, the rumor is that he basically has like an office with like cards on it, like a poster board with the cards,
or like a serial killer tracker,
like
person.
A serial killer chart with everything mapped out. So I mean, and it's like his whole story is fairly like mythical in like just in films. Because he was Richard Donner's assistant. and then he became when Richard Donner.
Who's Richard Donner?
Wife,
Just as an idiot.
Richard Donner is a film director. He directed the original Superman the movie.
Okay.
He directed Goonies, and he
Oh.
directed all the Lethal Weapon movies.
Wow, that's kind of
And-
a gamut of movie. That's
Yes.
Very-
He also directed, I want to say, the first Omen. He directed the Omen
Oh,
too.
wow.
Okay, I'm doing these all off the top of my head, so if I'm getting these all right.
you're just lying to us. It's fine though. We
We'll,
don't know.
we'll edit
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
to make you
So-
100% accurate.
And Kevin Feige was one of his assistants. Another one of his famous assistants in the comic book world was Jeff Johns, but that's a whole other conversation. That's DC. But he also had Kevin Feige. And when his wife, Richard Donner's wife, Laura Schuler Donner, who's also an amazing film producer in her own right, was producing a series of films that you may have heard of called the X-Men. And at the time, no one really knew anything about the X-Men. Like being a comic book nerd wasn't like a thing. And the internet was still fairly infant. So the only person they knew that knew a lot about the X-Men was Kevin Feige, Richard Donner's assistant.
Huh.
So he became an associate producer on the X-Men just because he was the guy in the room that knew the most about the X-Men.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And that's how he got his job in movies. And he basically just made nothing but comic book movies. But he was able to build that into Iron Man, which, I mean, that first Iron Man movie to me is really incredible. The fact that it's any good at all is an achievement because on paper that movie should work, and it does.
Because Downey Jr., right? It's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Robert
that's-
Downey Jr., who is not, anyone wanted for their movies.
No, he was a total risk at the time.
Yeah, the studios were dead set against it. But, they fought for it. Jon Favreau fought for it. And he also, Jon Favreau had made some good movies to that point. He made some really good movies to that point, but no huge hits. I mean, this was a big risk all around. You had a producer who had never helmed a studio before. You had an actor that was passé. You had a director that had never had that big a budget before. And they made Iron Man, and it worked. And it sort of opened everything up. And, we'll jump ahead. There was that. There was the Hulk, which was okay. There was Captain
It's
America,
generous.
the first. Yeah, we're moving. We got to keep it moving.
Yeah.
We had Thor, which was I actually like the first Thor movie a lot. Kenneth Branagh, I think, did a really good job of turning Shakespeare into comic books. It's kind of cool when you think of it that way. Then you have Captain America, the First Avenger, which I actually love that movie too, because here you have a period piece wrapped up in a comic book origin story, and it totally works. Again, something that shouldn't work that does. Then you have the Avengers, which is an amazing movie. I still love the First Avengers.
Yeah, that one blew the doors open too. We were lucky enough to have that one on the list too, and so we got to enjoy it. That's like the only film TC has watched twice so far, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a good one. Although I have to be quite honest, I didn't even realize I watched it more than once. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on this episode.
There's nothing wrong with that. You watched the movie twice. I've watched that movie like 8 times or so. So it's fine.
Yeah.
And if I'm talking too much or too fast, just
No, this is great.
please keep
That's
on
exactly
going.
what I hoped you'd be able to provide. So much context and history. We love it.
Right.
Okay, so you have the Avengers. Avengers is an achievement really unseen before. Because what makes this, so amazing is Captain America, Thor, and Hulk are not sequels to Iron Man. They're standalone movies.
Right.
Where they pulled all these characters and interwove them into one shared, cinematic universe, which never really existed before from one studio.
Not even in the comic books themselves.
In so the comic books, these characters, the Avengers and all those, they're interwoven all the time.
Okay.
There are a lot of changes between the comic books and these movies. And in many ways, it's not even that one is better and one is worse. They're just different, which I think in itself is sort of an achievement. I've been saying that a lot. This is an achievement. This is amazing.
That's
this
right.
is great. I'm a bit of a fanboy. Get over it. But there are a lot of differences, and some differences are better than others. Sometimes when they make something that's sort of like an homage to something in the comic books, it works because it is different. And if you know what they're referencing, it's great. And if you don't know what they're referencing, it doesn't matter. And I think that's sort of, one of the reasons why some of this works so well. Bucky in Captain America, the First Avenger, is a completely different character than Captain America than Bucky in the 1940s issues of the Captain America comic books.
Huh.
Bucky in the comic books was a 14-year-old kid who tagged around with Captain America after he became Captain America.
Oh, it didn't
Oh,
become
wow.
the whole Winter Soldier thing didn't happen. That was a separate character.
He does become the
Oh, he
Winter
does?
Soldier, yeah,
At
but
14?
it's just a completely different origin story. He's
Yikes.
yeah, so much different than this childhood friend character
Mhm.
that was made up for the movie.
Is it easy to
Right,
see
because
why
it's-
they did it? Like, can you see like, oh, that wouldn't make sense the way the comic book did it to do it in a
because
movie?
it's a much better.
Right.
That's a better change.
Right. This is his only friend, his only connection to his past anymore. Everybody else is dead, right? So it like makes it really like that's his only living friend that's at his same level.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I mean, and that's very true, and it's smart because it was
Yeah.
smart. It was a good idea. They found a good idea, and they kept it, and it's amazing. One of the comparisons you can make to parallel this with, because they're both Disney owned, is there's the Star Wars comparison to the Marvel comparison, and Disney making a Star Wars movie every year because it works so well with them making all these Marvel movies every year. Marvel, they're up to like 3 a year.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why the Marvel movies work and Star Wars is more divisive, I won't say they don't work. Some people love them, and that's fine.
I love the way
There's a
you
little
preface
bitterness
that.
at the end of that one, but yeah.
That's
and that's
fine.
fine. That's your
That's just
deal,
great. I'll
not
just sleep
maybe
on the
some
floor here.
others. Yeah, right.
I'm not telling you what you like that there's anything wrong with it. But
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I think it's easier with the Marvel movies to get it right is that the source material is structure. It's not the Bible.
Hmm.
Where in Star Wars, everything is held to the movies that came before it. Everything kind of needs to retrofit into this pre-existing cinematic universe. And that's tough.
And in the comic book world, there's like probably so much that they can just kind of pick and choose in some ways. Like there's like, you know, you don't. There's a lot of like.
Oh, wait,
either
but
they
don't these need to fit? Sorry.
Well, they need to be.
Don't
The
they
movies need to be consistent.
The movies need to fit within each other as films. But when they make a huge change, like changing who Bucky was prior to being,
gotcha.
Bucky,
I gotcha. So
That's-
not so much like from the movies that came before, but from the
Yeah.
source material type of thing.
exactly. They
Gotcha.
could
Sorry.
take
That, and
they
that,
could
that
take
doesn't create like outrage amongst fans. Like that's not Bucky. Or,
Exactly.
No,
I mean,
because there's idiots like me that have no friggin' clue what went on
Yeah,
in the
fair
comics,
enough, right.
Right. So I mean, and we're the ones buying all the fucking tickets.
Yeah.
So.
yeah.
and there's a lot of truth to that. And also there are people like me who know exactly who Bucky is and watch that movie and we're like, works.
Yeah.
I'm not
Not
there's nothing
upset.
wrong with
That's
that.
fair.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you're able to be positive like that. That's
Yeah.
good.
And it's got to be kind of exciting too, right? Because like you go into the theater being like, oh, I wonder what, like, it's not just going to be what I know. What are they going to change? What's going to be new for
Like
me?
how are they going to make this
Right.
all work?
Yeah.
Kind
And
of
there's
too. Yeah.
and this could actually lead us right into the movie du jour, Civil War, because they make huge changes to a major character in the Marvel comic book universe. Huge changes and change it completely. And I'm okay with it. I know some people were sort of not okay with it, but it's not like the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 where a lot of people were pissed, which actually didn't bother me at all. But a lot of people were pissed about the Mandarin, and that also is a huge change from the comic books. And they make a huge change. We'll go right into, I guess, spoiler. Do we say spoiler alert?
Oh,
If you
no,
want.
no.
Oh, I mean, we don't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
expect
I mean,
that.
but,
We expect the
Zemo-
movie has been
We
watched.
spoil shit
so-
all the time.
Yeah.
Zemo
Yeah.
in this movie bears zero resemblance to the Zemo of the comic books.
Oh, so Zemo's another character within the comics that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
not
he's
having
a-
superpowers, you sort of assume he's not there, right?
He's a classic Captain America villain. He's the leader of the Masters of Evil. He's the leader of the Thunderbolts. He's
Thunderbolts.
He was Thunderbolts. Yeah, Thunderbolts was in the late. It could have been the early 2000s. Could have been the late 90s. There was a superhero team where everyone thought they were these great heroes, but secretly they were villains.
Oh.
And Citizen V, the leader of the Thunderbolts, was secretly Baron Zemo.
Oh, okay. So, but
It
he
was
was
like a
he was a
twist.
bad guy, like a.
Oh yeah,
a
he's been a bad
monstrous
guy
bad guy
since.
there.
Well, I believe there's been 2 Baron Zemos. If you look up the first Baron Zemo, he's super goofy looking, and then he has a son who's a little less goofy looking.
His name is Baron Zemo. I mean, he's got to be
But
goofy.
his name is Baron Zemo. He wears a purple hood and he carries a sword.
Oh, he looks
That's
like the red guy from this movie, Vision, kind of.
He does. There's a little bit of Vision in his.
Oh,
the
nice.
mask.
I'm seeing one where he has like a purple jacket with like a froofy neck thingy.
Yes, the fur collar.
Yeah, it's a good
He wears
costume.
the fur collar. I mean, he's a fairly goofy. In the 60s, his big thing is he was always looking for Adhesive X, which was a super glue. Like, that was his thing. He was looking for a super glue.
It's like that's going to solve all his problems.
Yeah. And why I just pulled that out of thin air is beyond me. But that was like...
Hell of a
again, I mean,
tidbit.
there's a lot of goofiness, but he also is a character that, has a lot of importance in the comic book universe, and how they would portray him in the movie. People who knew who he was, there was a lot of speculation. And at the end of the day, he just was some guy.
Guy whose family was killed, who masterminded some things, but then that's it, right? And I mean, Brule is great. We just saw like 2 or 3 movies ago. We saw Rush, right? So where he
That's
he
the
stars
race car
opposite.
movie.
Yeah, he stars opposite of the guy who plays Thor as well.
Yeah.
And he's just fabulous in that. So it's great that as this franchise goes too, they can kind of pick who they want and be like, we'll get that guy.
and they pick great actors.
Yeah,
And they do great jobs.
Right. They all take it seriously, right? They all like play it to the fullest, right? Which is great.
I mean, we'll talk about Captain America. I think Chris Evans is an amazing Captain America. He pulls it off so well. And, it's funny because he gets flack for being, serious and kind of, milquetoast.
I'll start talking about that later, but you can have your opinion for a couple minutes, I think. Or at least you have it forever, but I'm going to argue against that because I got some,
You can
I got some
argue
thoughts.
against it, but that's Captain America. That's
Right.
who
Is that true to the comics in terms of how you saw him as a character too?
It's true to the comics. It is fairly true to the comics. He is just kind of just wet blanket in many ways. He's alone with my principles. That's him. Yeah, that's who Captain America is. He's very principled. He's the guy who, when he was fed up with the U.S. government in the mid 70s, became the nomad because his principles were bigger than the United States. There's the speech that Sharon gives at Peggy's funeral.
Right.
You plant your feet in the ground and you stand there like a tree. That's a Captain America speech from the comic books from the early 2000s. When he was talking about fighting terrorism.
So I might not say too much about it because it sounds like I just don't get the idea of Captain America.
I was thinking the same thing, Danny.
Yeah.
I was like, I am just summing us up. I don't know shit about all of this stuff. I don't know a goddamn thing.
But there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't, if your criticism is Captain America seems too boring to me,
or too
as a character or as a film.
Yeah.
we'll
get into that too.
Character of Captain America, if he seems too stodgy, I mean, it's also part of the whole concept. I mean, there is a concept there that he's a man who, for him 3 years ago was 1944.
Right.
You don't think he actually had any perception of time passing when he was asleep in that ice block for a long time?
No,
you don't. You don't when you go to sleep anyway, right? If you get knocked out, you don't sense the passage of time if you're fully asleep.
Yeah, I think that's kind of.
At least that's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, is that he had for him it was 1940 whatever 1943, 1944. A couple of years ago, and now here he is in 2018. But to him, he's still a man of the 40s, and there's that sort of 40s behavior.
Yeah. So that kind of is another part of his style. It's kind of feel a little weird when he's smooching his former girlfriend's niece.
Yeah. Yes, which is
that's who she was.
Thing. Yeah, that's also a thing that happened in the comic books too.
He wants that bloodline.
Definitely weird.
Yeah,
it's totally weird.
TC, are you sitting there scratching your head, being like, "I have no idea what we're talking about"?
Oh, I'm literally thinking to myself, like, I'm basically Donnie. Like, shut the fuck up, Donnie. You're out of your element. I'm just sitting here. I'm sitting here going, I just have nothing to say at this point.
Don't worry, man.
I welcome different opinions.
Oh no, there's just no opinion to be had.
Did you watch the movie and just not think about it? Did you not like
pretty
it
much?
at all?
Yeah, I thought it was a chore.
Oh,
That's cool.
The entire thing?
No, I'm very
There's just so
curious.
much going on. It's hard to follow, and then you don't.
Yeah.
I don't really. I'm not a big comic book guy, so this isn't my thing. So
Yeah.
it's
Here's
just
my
like,
other
eh.
question: have you watched the other 2 Captain America movies?
I don't even remember.
So, TC, I can answer this for you, and I can also be on TC's side here. I've seen the first Avengers. I have not seen Age of Ultron. I doubt you've seen that one, TC.
I don't think I've seen that one. Yeah.
yeah.
I think you need to see it because I did a recap.
Really?
Like, I didn't understand a lot of this movie because first of all,
So there's like context that I'm missing because I didn't see the previous one.
There's
Yeah.
really 2 movies that you need to see to kind of get this one. I mean, this is the 3rd Captain America movie.
Right.
So
I'm jumping in just willy nilly.
Yes.
Having
Yeah.
being like,
The
it's
Captain
good.
America,
Yeah.
The Winter Soldier, which is the 2nd Captain America movie, and in my personal opinion, the best Marvel cinematic movie, universe movie.
oh, and you've seen Black Panther.
I have seen Black Panther. I don't think Black Panther is better. Black Panther's more important. Definitely. There's huge import to that movie.
Yeah.
But as far as my personal, what I enjoy watching on the couch, for me, it's Winter Soldier. Then again, I don't have Black Panther to sit and watch on the couch. yet, so
Exactly.
who
You don't
knows?
know that yet. You got to wait until you can sit on your couch
It
and
could-
watch it.
Well, but it's also again it's it is it's kind of impressive how on one end, and it can be very confusing, so much happens in this movie and they don't bother to explain a fair amount in terms of backstory either, but man, so much happens.
Well, I think I kind of appreciate that they're
Yeah.
kind of just getting to it
Right.
without too much exposition, just assuming you know what's going on.
Yeah, it'd be
But
a
if you don't
4-hour
know what's
movie.
going on, this movie's probably like watching people. This movie might as well have been in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this red guy and why is the Olsen girl in there and who is this guy with the flying blades for wings? Is he an
It's
Avenger?
like-
How do you become an
It's just,
Avenger?
Whoa, Spider-Man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, at least they introduced Spider-Man in this. Like the other guys that
Yeah.
were just there because I missed Age of Ultron. I was like, are they Avengers? Did they get the card, the Avenger card at the end of the club? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
See, that's it. Yeah, you should. Age of Ultron, which is not great. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan, but again, I'm a fan of these movies. So
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that don't like Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron, I mean, this isn't an Age of Ultron show, but to me, I think the big problems with Age of Ultron is, these movies, and there is a formula to these movies, and a lot of it has to do with, there's usually 3 big fight scenes in these movies. There's the opening fight scene, and in this movie, in Civil War, we'll just say them. In Civil War, you have the fight with Rumlow / Crossbones at the beginning in Africa.
Like the biomaterial,
The
sort of whole heist.
biomaterial with the garbage truck flipping
Yeah.
over, which was a practical effect, which is pretty cool.
It was a pretty nice effect.
It was a pretty
Yeah.
good one. I gotta say.
So that's a really good opener because it's fast paced, it's action. You, even if you don't know who the characters are, you get to see them each do a cool thing, so you get kind of an idea like, oh, that's the
Yeah.
girl who moves stuff, and that's the girl who takes people.
Right.
Which he's not too good at it. And oh no, thousands of people died.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, no, she saved thousands of people, but killed like 20.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get it straight.
So that's
Yeah.
another thing. So for this one,
I understand that whole thing.
you didn't
Why are
understand
you
it?
so upset? No, why is upset? Could have
Oh,
been way worse.
kind of the tricky thing in this film, I think, too, which I don't know if they haven't quite. I don't know any of the Marvel films have really done this yet, where they deal with civilian casualties and sort of a public reaction to it. It kind of gets rough once you go into that territory. That I don't know. I mean, a superhero movie. I mean, some of them might want to deal with that sort of thing, but it sort of spoils the fun in some ways. It's like, oh, we don't want to think about that.
Right.
And that's really what this movie also, I mean, is in many ways, they would never admit it, but a direct response to Man of Steel, where Superman levels a city.
Oh, really? You think they were kind of they were playing off of that?
I definitely think they were taking a jab at that. too.
I only could watch part of that movie.
And also, didn't they follow up with the Batman vs Superman and kind of talk about that a little bit? I didn't see either,
Yes.
but I heard that they might have addressed it in the movies.
They do address it, but they do it poorly.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Just like everything
Well,
else.
that's
apparently
not
in that movie.
surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, Civil War's movie has nothing to do with it. Addresses it better.
Yeah, sorry about killing all those people. It was,
And then
Felt bad.
then you have a middle fight, which in this movie is really that showpiece fight where the 2 Avenger teams go at each other.
yeah.
And then
Airport
you have
fight
the
scene.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Then
what
you
about the
have
one
the-
where they're trying to climb up the tunnel, the inside of the tunnel?
Yeah, this movie does it really well with the fight scenes. We could get into all the different fight scenes, and then there's the final fight scene which is really the Iron Man, Captain America, Winter Soldier fight, which I
Punch
happen
each
to
other
like
in the
a lot.
head 50 times
Yeah.
each.
Now, Age of Ultron has its 3 set piece fight scenes, but the first one and the last one are kind of not that exceptional. And the middle one I actually like a lot. I think the fight in I think it's Singapore with the motorcycles and the trains. I like that a lot. I actually think that's a really good set piece. And also the Hulkbuster fight scene is really good too. So you have 2 really good fight scenes in the middle of Age of Ultron, but the 2 bookend scenes are a little underwhelming, especially compared to the 2 in the middle. So I think when you leave a movie, you usually think about the beginning and the end, and when the beginning and the end don't live up to the middle, I think that's all part of the reason why Age of Ultron gets a bum rap.
I would say that happens in this one too, because I thought the plane one was, and it sounds like everyone else would agree that the plane one is the best one in this movie, and that's kinda,
that hangar fight scene. I mean, there are people that probably think that's the end of the movie. Like,
Right, that's like, it definitely feels like the
haven't watched
climax.
it in
I
a
mean,
while.
yeah.
It's like, they
Yeah.
fight at the airport and then it ends, right? Isn't that?
Yeah,
the end
that
of the
could
movie?
be it. You're right.
Yeah, you got the most superheroes on screen doing the most superhero things like all at once. It's kind of impressive, man.
it's linear and it's hilarious.
Can you imagine the delays at the airport? Like the reality of that, like you just destroyed the airport. Like no one's going anywhere. Like let's fuck Pete killing people, but like it's worse to be sitting in the airport for like a week. You know, I mean seriously, right? People die all the time, but being stuck in
That
the airport.
guy
It's the
just
worst.
stepped on the wing of my plane, so I'm not going anywhere for a
Right.
long time.
Fuck de-icing. That's no fucking wing. You know, you're screwed.
Missing
Anyway.
half the planes.
Yeah.
Fucking do.
What was sort of like once they brought up that like, oh, you shouldn't kill people, I started to just think in that mindset of, oh God, look at all the property damage they're causing.
Yeah, right.
Look
Like
at-
you start thinking the reality of it, right? Which
yeah,
is a
or
mess.
like when Captain America is like going to save the Winter Soldier guy, and all those poor German special forces guys are getting their butts kicked and heads
Well,
crushed.
they don't kill anybody.
Well, you get slammed head first into a concrete wall so much that you dent the concrete, you're probably going to have some brain damage. You know?
No
If you're
one gets
lucky.
killed.
I know that's the other funny thing. It's like, yeah, death is not okay, but
That's a really cool fight scene.
disabled. It is really cool, but when I get in that mindset of like, oh, these people are disabled for life if they live, there's some lawsuits there.
Does nobody die in that first
Just
scene? Is
once
that what
they
you're
bring
saying?
that up.
In that scene where they fight in the apartment building.
Yeah, it's the
Oh, okay.
typical James Bond thing where you knock them out so you're not a bad guy.
People die in the first scene, I think, right? People get shot and stuff, I believe.
Yeah, in that
Okay.
first scene when Captain America goes into the chemical plant.
Yeah.
And the mercenaries, they totally just straight up murder. all
Okay,
those
good.
mercenaries.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. No, Captain America's a fan of murder.
Yeah,
he's not
right.
Batman.
Yeah.
That's not.
He's a
Big
fan of
fan
it.
of murder.
He's
That
not
guy.
only
Huge
okay with
fan.
it. he
He's
gives it
serious. He's
top
somber.
marks.
He's a huge fan of murder. No big deal.
He's got a
He's
real
totally
strict
into
code
that.
of right and wrong.
His dry cleaner hates him.
Yeah, his principles are to murder. Okay,
Well, if you're bad, it's
He's a soldier, I guess is
Yeah.
If you will.
Yes, if you will. He's a soldier, so there's no hesitation.
So, who do you think? we can go around the room. Like, who do you guys think is kind of the real standout of the film with so many characters?
Chris Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I meant the opposite of that. Go ahead, John.
Oh, asshole, Denny. I don't know if you guys, if there's. I mean, for me, it was Spider-Man because it was totally unexpected, and he was such a like comic relief for the film. I think that was just really delightful. And he did it so well. And since then, it had been the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, which the first 2 films are great, but it sort of like
Don't
wore
forget
itself
Andrew
out.
Garfield.
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to forget Andrew Garfield.
Those movies are so bad.
I didn't even know they existed. Are they older?
You can
than-
thank
are
those
they- are
movies
the
being
new
bad,
ones?
letting the Spider-Man in this movie be in this movie.
So
No,
is that?
that's between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland.
Oh,
Is
okay.
Andrew
Yeah. So I
Garfield.
never even went near those. I didn't even know who that was.
They're not
So-
good.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this is a complete recasting, right? And that's
Yeah.
in the new Homecoming. That's who the Spider-Man, which I haven't seen that yet, but
Oh,
That's
you
good.
should. It's very good.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm trying not to choke.
that's okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think I love that, just the scenes with Tony Stark as Iron Man, like inserting himself into Spider-Man's life. Marissa Tomei as the Ant. My God, that's great. Again, just being able to get stellar actresses and actors whenever they want, it seems. Even just for brief cameos.
Yeah.
So I love that whole sequence too, where he's like, "Oh, you got it," and he's just so boyish about it. You got an iron arm? That's so cool. You know, when he's about to
He's trying to make friends against the people he's fighting against.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of funny.
That's
Although
like
that's not the Peter Parker I remember reading the comics. That might be the only comic I used to read.
Oh, really?
That is totally Peter Parker from the comic books.
From some of them,
Over-talking,
maybe.
telling jokes. That's what
Yeah.
he does. Is that he talks too much.
I guess I just have a
that's like-
different reminiscence.
That's the Peter Parker trademark.
Huh. I guess I never thought of him as being that young. I always thought of him as being
Yeah.
more of an adult.
Well, I guess it
Yeah.
depends on what you're reading. I mean, he's he's been 15 in the comics. He's been 20,
You were 8, TC, when you were reading
5,
it, so he probably
30.
seemed pretty old, right? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty
That's
adult
true.
to you.
Yeah.
Not-
That's a good point.
Those jokes weren't fart jokes; they were sophisticated.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, so what was stand out for you guys? I mean, in terms of the characters, or what was really surprising?
I'd probably agree with you on Spider-Man. I thought that the scene, I wouldn't say that any character stood out overall. I just thought the airplane hangar scene was by far the standout part of the movie because you didn't need to really understand it. And I had issues with trying to figure out like why anyone would be on Tony Stark's side of this movie.
Oh, really?
Yes, but
Well,
then
we
I had to
may
look,
debate that, sir.
Yes, but I had to look up the Age of Ultron script, and I think, or summary, and I think I understand it now, and I'm kind of on his side now. And I kind of don't understand Captain America's point of view. So I think it depends, like knowing that it was his fault that all these people died because of like the AI he created in the Age of Ultron is a big part of the story. They barely even, I'm not sure they mentioned
They don't
it at
touch
all.
that. No, they more focus around the single kid that whose mom confronts him by the elevator.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you don't
Just
know the Age
happens
of
to be
Ultron-
there waiting, assuming that he's going to show up. What the
And I
fuck
thought
is
that was
about?
terrible because I had no idea what it was. It was like, oh, this random thing that they didn't help
they don't
me
really reference.
understand it, you know?
Yeah, they reference it through this one person. So if you don't know, because I assumed that too. I thought that was what was tipping him over was the single experience. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know either. So because they don't really reference it too directly.
that he created Ultron.
Yeah, yeah.
He created Ultron, what Ultron was, and
Which
what
is
happened
also
there.
A major change from the comics. In the comics, he did not create Ultron.
Oh,
So TC
Interesting.
and anyone listening, tell me if I'm wrong, Wombat, but Tony Stark created a AI called Ultron, put him in a robot body. The robot went bad and almost destroyed the Earth, but did destroy like an entire city. Is that right?
Yes. It actually is a really good comic booky supervillain plot. I don't know if it was necessarily executed all that well in the movie. That's a whole other debate. But yes, his big idea was to take a city, lift it out of the ground, let the city get to a certain height, and then drop the city back down. So when it lands on the planet Earth, it kills like 7 billion people.
Jeez.
Why not just grab the moon and throw it at the Earth? Come on.
I don't. Again, it's if you were to
Just
read
work
this-
backwards here, guy. Come on.
If you were to read that plot in a comic book, you would probably shake your head and go, "Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
yeah, right.
It's a comic book. This makes sense." But in a movie, it can be a little. Wait, what? He's doing who to what now? Why?
And and they
So-
catch it, right? Him and Thor like carry it or something. Iron Man and Thor catch it.
They basically stop it, but they don't stop it well enough.
Gotcha.
Like they prevent the world from exploding.
Right,
but
but
it
the
doesn't mean
city.
Kind of
yeah.
like what the astronauts did in the movie Deep Impact. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Where like Elijah Wood lives, but Elijah Wood's parents dead.
All right. I mean, the analogy is sound, Danny.
yeah, well, not even having seen the movie, that's just a great image.
Yes.
Elijah's there and his parents are dead. All right, I got it.
Yeah.
You got it now?
Yeah, I got it.
You
I
got
got it. So,
I don't know why they didn't say that in the movie. I would have totally understood it if they had just said that.
yeah, Elijah Wood, alive, parents dead.
Yeah.
See?
So
Okay.
yeah, so definitely Tony Stark is carrying around a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense then. I think so. But what about, were there any like TC or Wombat, like really delightful surprises as far as all the characters or disappointments?
I'll let TC go.
I
first.
got nothing. You can go Wombat.
Oh, come on.
All you.
Seriously,
No, I
you
got
didn't
nothing.
Like, you didn't even like Black Panther in this movie.
I'm just gonna plead the fifth.
How about
all right.
when Iron Man pulls the thing, turns his wristwatch into a gun,
Yeah.
That's pretty
pulls
cool.
it over his hand, and he goes,
Yeah.
pew, pew.
Yeah. Oh, I remember it.
having like, I didn't even like
How
Black
about
Panther.
when Chris Evans as Captain America grabs a helicopter,
Holds it tight.
and hold it tight.
Flexes his
and
giant muscly arms.
And
Does have
Winter
big
Soldier-
muscles.
look
I mean,
at
I
way
remember
to
thinking to
kill him,
myself
yeah.
that time, damn, he's jacked, huh? That's about all I got. That's about it. That's
I
about
bet
as
that's
far
Chris
as I
Evans
got.
really
Also-
holding that helicopter.
a real practical effect. He's really holding a helicopter. I mean, he's not holding it from flying away. It's attached to something, but it's a mostly practical effect there. He did pull a muscle or something like that. He,
Oh God,
really
that's scary.
Oh,
damaged his
damn.
arm doing that.
Like if
Damn.
something that helicopter got loose or something, man.
Well, the
Would've
guy
ripped
like
his
jerked
arms
a little
off.
bit to the right and then boom,
Yeah,
oh shit,
yeah.
oh, shit, you're fired, you're fired.
And you're armless. That's not good.
yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
terrible.
So I see. I'm talking like I'm pretty negative. We're getting pretty far into this episode. I just want to say that I did kind of enjoy this movie. I think it's kind of some of the dialogue is like kind of. I don't want to use the word bad. I don't know what the word is. It's like cheesy or something.
yeah, there's some. There's definitely some hokey dialogue on that. There's
Yeah, I just don't think dialogue's the point of this movie.
Right, but
Right.
there's so much
Well,
of it. Like
right.
half of it or more is people talking to each other about what's happening, and I didn't
there
understand
are also
a good
this
half of that.
movie more than probably any of the other ones as callbacks to other Marvel movies.
Huh.
Right.
Like I would
so
say probably more than any other Marvel.
So if you
movie.
don't get the callback and the dialogue's not necessarily well spoken, then it's just confusing. It's just like clunk.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, like if you haven't seen Winter Soldier, then Black Widow in this movie is probably very confusing and you wonder why she's there.
How does so? I got questions about her.
For sure.
Can she get? How is no one shooting at her? She runs up to like a group of bad guys in this movie with guns, and they all stand around until she kicks them in the head. What
Yep.
what is her superpower, and can she die? And
She has no superpowers.
No, she's just an extremely well trained agent who always knows how to jump at the right moment.
Yep.
Ah,
she's good,
okay.
really good at jumping.
It's gonna
Really?
be quite honest. I had to look up Black Widow just to remember which character was which.
Scarlet.
ScarJo.
Scarlet Johansson.
No, I realized. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
right. Of course.
It's
Okay.
weird too because
Yeah,
they
it's
never
always-
say Black Widow, right? They always call her by her
No.
real name in this one, or at least most of the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah,
Call
that's
her
true.
Natasha.
which is confusing
Yeah.
to me because I didn't know that was her name.
Oh yeah. Right. Well, Black Widow is a pretty stupid comic book character name.
Fair enough.
So
Although she's
Yeah.
getting her own movie, right? So
Oh, is
Maybe.
she?
Is she?
yeah, supposedly.
Ooh,
we'll find out.
that's not,
I mean,
that's
they're gonna milk
interesting.
this cow until it's dead, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sebastian Stan wants to be in the Black Widow movie.
Who's Sebastian Stan?
What's his face? The fucking guy that was Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah,
Whichever guy he is.
oh.
I don't know.
Bucky,
Bucky. There we go.
Oh, Bucky.
the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also thought that, everyone was trying to kill Bucky. Captain America was the only one trying to save him. I thought that Captain America should maybe have killed Bucky. Bucky was a liability.
really?
Bucky was a murderer. Even if he had the brain of like his friend in there, he is an unstable murderer and he needed to go.
And he said he remembered them all.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Which sounds
Yep.
terrible.
it means he's a
You
prick.
remember?
Yeah, well, he gets to experience it.
He was in the sunken
even
place.
Even though he can't control himself. Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in some ways it's a little hard to sort of understand because it does create. Again, you just sort of. I think you're supposed to just go with. It's not only is it a sense of right for Captain America. This is his only like living. It's part of himself. It's like that's his past. That's his only connection and his only friend that he has. That
From
sort of.
Pre-Captain America.
Yeah, and it just defines who he is,
And
he saved his life.
It's not just the only link he had, but literally his only friend.
Right.
So Steve Rogers, before he was Captain America, when he was a skinny kid from Brooklyn, was an orphan in Brooklyn with one friend, and that friend was Bucky. And he feels as though he owes him basically everything. So he
Right,
can't-
and Bucky
he's never
saved
gonna
his
go.
life, like sacrificed himself for him at one point or another or maybe twice, I don't know, in the first movie. Or was it the second? Or both, I don't remember.
Well, he dies. He quote unquote dies in the first Captain America,
Right.
and then he saves Captain America at the end of the second one. Or
Right.
yeah,
But he
hope
dies
doesn't-
saving Captain America in the first one, doesn't he, or something?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think when you put all that together,
You
it's
use the
still
word
kinda
dies,
tough
but I don't
'cause
think you know what that word means.
right. Fair enough. He appears to die. but it is kind of hard to accept, like, especially at the end where it's like, dude, you're pile driving your super shield into Iron Man's electric heart. That could kill him, I mean, is it really worth that? Is that what you want to do? Like, it's,
But then you could
again,
argue
don't
that he
expect-
rips his face off, which I've seen, and I didn't pick this up, but he rips his mask
Yeah.
off before, because if you smash the thing before he ripped the face off, he'd suffocate inside the suit. So he was actually saving him.
Oh, you think that was all coordinated?
I don't think so, but I read that
Oh.
online.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was going to
Gotta
say
be
that.
true.
I honestly, but they do put those kind of details are in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of again, it's super nerdy. You go to even Avengers, which I think you've all said you've seen,
Yes.
Yeah.
where Natasha. There's the scene where Black Widow is talking to Loki. That whole scene.
That's the one where she's taunting him to get information
that's one,
out of him.
that's one of
right?
my favorite scenes. That's a great Joss Whedon scene.
It's
where,
a great
yeah,
Joss Whedon scene that she's taunting him to get information,
Right.
and she only wants to save Hawkeye, which is that part is real. She does want to save Hawkeye. When she says regimes fall every day, I don't cry over it or whatever. She means that. And throughout this whole movie, again, if you haven't seen Winter Soldier, there's parts that you're missing because she forms a really strong bond with Captain America during that movie, where there's a trust there and there's a relationship there. It's a really good relationship that's built. You kind of see a little bit of that in the funeral scene where she's, where she shows up, and when she signs the Accords, and you think that she's turned on Captain America, and that she's joined the other side. There's that part of you that's like, has she really? And when at the end when she's it has nothing to do with the Accords. It has nothing to do with who's wrong or right. It has to do with she's loyal to people. She's loyal to Hawkeye and she's loyal to Captain America. Steve Rogers.
Right, but she switched over. But it did seem like I didn't quite understand her. She at least saw Tony's reasoning or felt that was the right decision, right?
What were the benefits
but
of
she
signing the
still-
Accord? Why would you want to do that?
I think for her as a spy, because it's a lot easier to know what's going on with Tony Stark if you're standing in the room with him.
But why did Tony want to do it? Like, what were the benefits of signing that?
Well,
he feels guilty. I think it's purely the guilt.
He no longer wants to be responsible for that kind of stuff. He wants somebody else with oversight to where if things like that happen, it's not his fault. So, and also just that there's some kind of accountability.
He's a smart guy, though. Don't you think that even if he was a part of another organization, that if that same thing had happened, he would have known that it was equally his fault? He's not an idiot.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I think though, but if there's just more people involved in the decision making, again, I'm trying to.
Then it's not the top story on the news like it
right.
is. It's not this lawless organization kills 14 Wakandans in Africa.
So he's in a shallow kind of way where he doesn't want people pointing the finger at him. That's all he really cares about. He doesn't care about the people.
Not even that. He may. I mean, I don't know about his feelings about people or not, but just more. He just doesn't want that responsibility of making those calls either by himself. I mean, he was kind of. Well, I don't know
he
if
fucked up
the
himself,
leader.
right? The Ultron thing was 100% his fault.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which you think that arguably
why isn't
could
he
be
in prison
criminal,
for that?
right?
I mean,
exactly. Yeah,
he's pretty much a bad guy at that point. I think I didn't see the movie
in a lot of ways. Yes.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. His creation of Ultron is. Again, it may even have been a misstep in that movie to have him be the creator of Ultron, but that's a whole other conversation.
Right. Like if you could, again, I mean, maybe his arguably even in that movie, and I haven't seen it, but you imagine his motivations were good. Like he thought good things would happen.
Yes, he was trying to create something that would help the world, and it wound up not. That's the basic story. And yes, it killed a lot of people. Here we are with Civil War. And as far as, by the way, one of the reasons why I think Civil War works, you're talking about characters and characters that stand out. I think the reason why characters like Spider-Man and Iron Man and even Black Panther can stand out in a movie like this, but because it's a Captain America-centric movie, and it's not an Avengers movie, and they don't have to feel that need to give every character equal time. This is a Captain America movie, so Captain America is going to get the most screen time, and everything's going to center around him. So all these other characters that are now their parts are smaller, but because they're smaller, every time we see them, they better be there for a reason, which is why those side character parts feel a little more elevated. Why they come off a little stronger than they might.
Especially having seen the movies, like having seen Black Panther. When I saw this movie a long time ago, before knowing anything about Black Panther.
A long time ago, as in less than 2 years ago.
Yes. I was a young boy then.
Yeah.
But then having seen it now after having watched Black Panther, I was like, hey, it's the Black Panther guy. He's so awesome. And it's great because it's really cool to see him in that role because the movie was so good, and you just see like hints of what he is and what he does, which is kind of neat.
I'm going to be honest, and this might be bad to say, but I didn't think Black Panther was that good in this movie. I really liked the movie Black Panther, but I remember watching this the first time, and I forgot that he was in this movie so much. Because every time he was talking, I was like, I don't understand what he's talking about. And I think it might have had to do with the scene where his father dies. Totally unbelievable to me. The car bomb goes off like 10 stories down, and the one guy to die is the one guy that needed to die for the plot. And I'm just like,
I think other people died. Just
Did
none
they?
of the important people we knew. Yeah, other people died, but they were all like,
I believe it was
civilians.
a Deus Ex Machina bomb.
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
No, because he was the one that was closest to the window. I don't think anyone else died, right? They all just got really scared.
I think other civilians
they say
died.
people died in Vietnam.
Yeah.
He's
They say
people.
People.
He's people.
So that implies
He's
more than
a
one person.
Yeah, I think more people. I think it's implied
No one
that more
else was
people died.
No one else had a son that was a superhero.
Right.
Yeah.
The only person we care about are the superheroes and their relatives.
Yes.
That's, or girlfriends, boyfriends. We
Hey,
get that
yeah.
too.
Which is the government's
Sharing
argument.
Mom and
argument.
dad,
Right?
Yeah,
Which is the
we're talking
government's
first
argument here.
relatives, pretty much.
So I want to ask you, Wombat, about the title of this movie. I think the splitting up of a Captain America movie and Avengers and Thor and all these things is very confusing to me. Do you think that it's a good idea that they are doing this, even though this could easily have been called the Avengers Civil War?
I
interesting.
think that this, I think it's good that this is a Captain America movie because I do think it focuses more on Captain America than the other characters, despite them being there. It's more of a direct follow-up to Winter Soldier, so that makes sense. Again, if you guys haven't seen Winter Soldier, it sort of does a disservice to this movie.
Yeah. Well, our opinions are completely invalid because we have not watched how many movies? 13 movies?
Two. Well, at least the two preceding Captain America movies.
It's really just,
nice.
and you don't even need to see the first Captain America movie to get this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really not that much there.
Just give me a
it's going
second.
Crazy. She disagrees with me.
She disagrees with me.
Yeah, well.
She's
Yeah.
like, shut up, Denny. You're asking stupid questions. You're wrong. You haven't seen all the movies.
Well,
You need to see, Winter Soldier. You need to see Age of Ultron. And Age of Ultron, you could probably just skip around.
How long can they get away with doing that? How many movies?
Well,
like
I think
8 movies, and you need the 9th movie. You need to watch these 8 movies, otherwise you'll be confused.
No, I mean, but some of the spin-offs are quite self-contained. I mean, like Black Panther was fairly self-contained, even though
Ant-Man is fairly self-contained. Doctor Strange is fairly self-contained.
Right.
Agreed.
Even Thor Ragnarok is fairly self-contained, and that's the third Thor movie.
That one actually helped me understand this one because I watched that one recently, and I was like, oh, I forgot that Thor and the Incredible Hulk were a part of this, and they just weren't in this movie whatsoever.
Right, they were busy doing other things.
Yeah.
Right,
Those two movies happen at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of cool. I do like that.
I do think again, on one hand, it can be confusing and a little frustrating as a viewer. On the other hand, it's quite amazing they're doing this. It's like, again, back to the whole mastermind idea of the guy with all the little strings in his room.
And you're rewarded for keeping with it. I mean, yes, I guess to say, is it fair that I have to watch 12, 18, 19 movies in order to understand what's going on?
Fair.
But you could say that, you could say the same thing about, Harry Potter had however many.
And those movies are crap if you don't watch all of them.
We got to watch the very last movie as part of the list.
It made no sense. Yeah, no sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And my
no
wife
sense.
has read all the book like 8 times and seen the movies before, and she watched that, which is like, this movie doesn't make any sense. Like, just by itself, even if you know everything that's going on or what it's supposed to be doing, it still is crap.
And
Yeah,
of course,
it's
had I
probably-
seen any of them before? Nope.
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 Completely eyes glossed over.
So
Don't
that
know what's
was-
going
it is
on.
a fair
difficult,
point
say
to
the
do
least.
this, and I mean, this makes me excited to see Infinity War now too. I actually want to see Age of Ultron now and see the Ragnarok just to fit more of the pieces.
Thor
in.
Ragnarok is a lot of fun.
I
That's
like
just a
that
fun
one a lot.
movie.
It was funny, like the entire way through, which is the best. I think the best parts of these movies, and sometimes they get away with it. Like towards the end of this movie, it gets really self-serious after the plane scene. The fight between Captain America and Thor, Captain America and Iron Man.
Winter Soldier guy.
Did any of you feel stakes in that scene? Were you fearing that one of them was going to die?
No, I don't think it's
No.
a question of wondering if one of them is going to die as much as it is who's going to incapacitate who first?
Right, or what happens to their relationship?
yeah,
Who's
they're
going to
not-
punch the most is the question.
Well, I mean,
There are so many punches.
Yeah.
there are a lot of punches. It's about incapacitating. It's not about killing.
Right.
Although Iron Man does say he wants to kill Winter Soldier, I don't think he would even. I don't think he would do it as much as he
Really?
says he would, and has upset.
oh,
he
man.
is.
I don't know. I bet if you got
think
Black
when that-
Panther in a room with Iron Man, Black Panther would talk Iron Man into it, and they'd jump him together and they'd murder him.
If they had been both in that revenge state still.
Yeah.
But I think God, I mean, certainly in terms of like sort of justifying Iron Man's motivation, they really do towards the end. If you get the footage of the person killing your mom and dad, and regardless of whether they're brainwashed or not, man, that's gonna be tough to be like, all right, okay with.
I would not have
Did you
watched that
guys-
footage.
Did you guys see that coming?
No.
That's what they were flashing back to in 1991 throughout the
No.
whole movie.
No,
Nope.
all
Nope.
I knew,
Nope.
like they sort of
Had
set
no
it
idea.
up. It was like a smokescreen in a way, like which was what Brule's character wanted, right? But
Yes.
they did that to the audience too, which is kind of neat.
Yes. So I mean, I knew what was going to happen because they sort of there's an Easter egg actually about it in Captain America 2.
Really?
There's like a blink if you miss an Easter egg. And I just happened to, the night before we went to go see Civil War in the theater, my wife and I watched Winter Soldier again at home.
As you would.
As you would. So as soon as I saw what was going on, I'm like, that's from that. That's from. I don't even want to tell you because you guys may watch Winter Soldier, and now that you know to look for it, it'll stand out to you now.
Okay.
But if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't notice it. But I think I do think it was a fairly clever twist.
Well, I do because you're all set up to think that they're going to fight these other super soldiers, and Iron Man's. You kind of get it set up in your mind what's going to happen. All right, Iron Man's going to be there. The super soldiers will come to life, and then the Winter Soldier and Captain America might be losing the fight, but then Iron Man shows up. You kind of get it all in your head what's going to play out, and it's like, no, they're all dead.
Yep, everyone's gonna hug and go home and tell the General Ross to go suck an egg, and that'll be the end of it. Roll credits.
Right. I do feel. I mean, on one hand, you can compliment the movie for its seriousness, but I do feel like on the other hand, it's like it does take some of the fun out of it when it feels so serious. Where it's like Tony sitting there avenging his parents' death, and you're talking about the civilian casualties and how you might need government oversight for a superhero organization, and it's just it's darker and not dark because superhero movies can still be dark, but this is more like real world dark. That is in a way it sort of like takes you out of the sort of fantastic.
There are some comedy beats to the movie. I mean, there is there's just Vision in a sweater.
Yeah,
It's
well,
pretty
I think
funny.
it's why I found Spider-Man so appealing too, because it's
All
that
of
sort
Spider-Man.
of like yeah.
The interactions between Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Well,
were
actually,
good.
Yeah, those were good. I like the buddy movie they had going there.
Yeah,
That
and
was
again,
good.
but there is a lot going on.
Does
But- and
anybody
also-
have any orange slices?
Ant-Man, yeah, he was fun.
Yeah.
He is the hero that doesn't get the respect he wants. It's just kind of cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I was laughing the
But
most
yeah.
at him when he got big and the excitement in his eyes was pretty damn good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd does a good job in this movie.
Yeah.
I haven't
he
seen
does.
the Ant-Man movie.
I liked him.
Or there's a sequel out too for that. The
That
Ant-Man and
comes
Wasp
out.
or whatever.
Ant-Man comes out soon. Yeah, that comes out
Yeah.
in like June. We'll say June.
Damn, really? Isn't the new
Yeah.
Avengers one coming out like in 2 weeks?
Yep, I already have my tickets.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow, you are a fan.
What theater do you go to? You go to one of the reserved seating movie places?
I will only see movies in a reserved seating theater at this point.
Do they have different theaters now? Because I made
yeah.
a joke about that out here, and they were like, they don't do that anymore, dude.
No, they do it like an
Yeah.
Alamo Draft House. They do it. Something like that.
No, like it's only reserved seating at this point.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the theaters
I don't know.
here are reserved seating. You can't go in without a spot.
Well, you are in
assigned
LA,
before
so
you-
I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
probably like
you guys are the trendsetters.
Right.
No, but I made
Yeah.
that joke, and I got made fun of here. I was like, nah, you guys just go and go to the theater and walk in. Like, what the hell are you talking about? They don't do that anymore. I was like, I think we do.
No.
I'm sure there are some small. I know some small theaters. That,
Yeah, it's any theater outside of LA, I'm sure.
I don't get the
But,
person who would buy like the crappy tickets on reserved. It's like, oh, there's only one left in the front right corner, so I'm gonna buy that
They
one.
want to go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You want to be there opening night, man.
Yeah.
Come on, you would do that, Denny, for a
I would
horror
not,
movie
dude. I
that you
saw
would-
one movie
I
in the
would
front
never
right,
do
and everyone's face was distorted. It was very nauseating.
Or
it
even
could be
worse,
done.
get back in the surround area where you're on the right side, and all you hear is the right surround. It's
Just
awful.
buy the ticket and just kind of hover around the back row, just standing up the entire movie.
I bought
Ugh,
4 tickets, reserve seating. Whole family's gonna go. It'll be
Nice.
Nice.
That's exciting.
Thursday
Nice
night.
plan.
What do you? What,
No, we're gonna go Saturday morning.
Oh,
If I'm
nice.
taking the
Ooh.
kids, we'll do a matinee.
That's a good idea.
Hey. It's good.
It'll be less.
Maybe a little
annoying.
noisier though. A little more crying, maybe.
There definitely may be more children in there, but I'm also bringing children, so
Right.
you know,
Oh,
you take-
you're even.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a good
I
idea.
wouldn't take my kids to see like an 8 p.m. showing on opening weekend because I don't want to be that guy.
Nice.
Good, because I went to go see Minions once at like 9:30 on a weekend,
Okay, well that's on you.
and I was drunk, and there were kids everywhere, and it was very very uncomfortable for me.
Oh, that's good. That's on you, pal.
That's
It's
a
nobody
great
else's
image
fault
there,
but
Denny.
your own.
Do the minions make sense if you get drunk enough? Because I wonder if their talking starts to make sense.
The,
Like, you
the
really
Minions
might relate
movie,
to
they
them.
make way too much sense because they talk way too much. They just say like English words disjointedly. It's not very funny.
So yeah, Wombat, where would you place this as far as your like Marvel movie ratings, like in terms of your rankings? Do you have a firm opinion there?
I don't know if I have a. There's again, like we've said. I mean, they're the whatever. Infinity War is going to be movie 19. So if you're asking me where out of
Jesus.
1 to 19 I put this, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's
Holy,
a
can
very
you imagine?
fluid list.
If somebody had said that they're going to pull off 19 of these and they're going to like be increasingly successful, which I think that's generally the case, right? They're like they keep
there
doing
have
better.
been, There have been a couple that have been, I
mean,
mostly misses. Thor 2 is not a good movie.
but
Thor
it still
2
is financially. I think they're just still.
They've all made money. Every
Yeah.
single Marvel movie has made money. No studio has been more successful as a studio than Marvel Studios. That's just a thing. Marvel
Did the Ang Lee
Studios-
Hulk that made money?
Crazy.
And that's not part of Marvel Studios. That's
Ah.
pre-Marvel
Oh, was that a
Studios.
separate movie? Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Ed Norton Incredible Hulk. This is different.
Right.
And that was directed by the guy who directed The Transporter.
Not the
Name is
Eric
like-
Bana Ang Lee one, which was before
No.
Iron Man,
Right.
was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that movie
yeah.
isn't terrible, but it's weird.
It's not what you expect, which is
Well, Ang Lee is just going for the emotional stuff in that one a bit more.
Yeah.
It's not really. He's more interested in certain aspects of things. I mean, the sense and sensibility side of Hulk, basically, which is so it's interesting.
so. Whose side are you guys on? The big debate. Who's right?
What?
Captain
No,
America.
wait.
Captain
Oh,
America. John, what would
Captain
you say?
America's right.
TC, what would you say, TC? Do you care?
Not really.
No.
Who's got a cooler suit then, huh? Would you rather go with Iron Man with his
Iron Man all day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Iron Man's got,
Iron Man
got
all
more.
day.
You'd have a lot more fun with Iron Man's
Yeah.
gadgets. You have to have a lot. Basically, you can throw that shield around really cool, but I don't know.
I mean, do
I
I,
would-
get
I
to
would
have
suck at it.
Captain America's strength and stamina?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you got to have his stupid principles too.
And his stupid helmet. His helmet's dumb.
His helmet is dumb. That's why he's always taking it off.
Yeah.
Have you noticed he never wears it for more than 5 minutes?
Yeah. He's like, come on, can I please
in
take this
mid-fight?
off?
In mid-fight, he's done with it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. Have you seen how handsome I am?
hey. Look at these locks. I don't
Look
need
at
that
my
helmet.
hair. It's beautiful. Why would I cover
According
this
to
up?
his contract, he doesn't wear the helmet for more than
Yeah.
5 minutes.
He needs a certain amount of FaceTime per scene.
Oh, yeah. It's like that Judge
I
Dredd
guarantee
thing.
you that's part of his contract, too.
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah. That's fine.
As opposed to War Machine, who probably does not. I don't think that's in his contract.
Don Cheadle. Yeah.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
They want
Don
to see my
Cheadle,
face. No, Cheadle, they don't. They really
Yeah,
don't.
no.
It's fine.
It's all right, man.
People are here to see Cheadle. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
He's good, but it's all right.
There's a lot of
how did you-
fans of Boogie Nights coming to the movies, guys. I swear it.
Hey, he was great in Hotel Rwanda too. How about young Robert Downey? Digitized young Robert Downey in the
That was
in the
interesting.
early
It was
virtual
good.
reality scenes. Yeah,
I mean, they do a really good job with that. It's creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is creepy.
Is it?
But they
it
just
was
airbrush
completely
out his
CG,
wrinkles and shit. it
I
has to
like
be.
how you get to slowly realize that's what it is. Like they don't show him for a while, so you slowly like get to realize that this is like in his past, and then you see him really young.
Wait, it took you a little while to get that? I got it instantly. I was like, holy shit, that's a really young Robert Downey Jr. How are they doing that?
No, I think they do the scene early, though, but they don't show him right away in the scene. They show like his parents talking before he comes in.
Oh, yeah, and his mom's playing the piano.
You get to hear his voice.
Gotcha.
You get to hear his voice before he comes in, so you're like, you start to realize, oh, this is young Robert Downey. How are they going to do that? Oh my God, there he is. Like he's in those teen movies that he used to be in.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie's good. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, we're spoiled, man. We watch like classics every goddamn week. There's just, French classic cinema.
Come on.
We got stop motions about old Asperger's dudes and little ugly girls. It's good stuff, really. It's
yeah, I'm just a hater.
What movie you're talking about?
Mary and Max.
I'm just a hater. Mary and Max. You don't have to because
We
no one
watched
would
it
ever
last
watch
week.
that.
Yeah, I
fucking
wouldn't
It was good, you guys. I don't know what
John
you're
loves
talking
it,
about.
but the rest of us.
Sounds too artsy for me. I like movies where a guy dressed as a cat punches a dude dressed as a bird in the face. So, that's pretty much my movie.
That should be the tagline of the movie. Holy shit, that's great.
Yeah.
A great way to describe it.
Short synopsis.
Yeah.
Guy in a fucking bird suit
Punches him in the
dude
face.
in cat suit, and then there's a little ant thing that goes big. It's funny.
It's a big ant.
Right.
There's a giant ant.
Yeah.
So in the comic books, does Captain America have bullet wound scars all throughout his thighs and shins?
Yeah, he does get shot in the legs a lot, doesn't
Does he really?
No.
Oh, wow, that's good. Because I thought I was like, all right, so he's protecting his middle of his body, but his legs are there. People are firing bullets at him like crazy. He would be
He's
getting
got to
hurt.
he's got to be hit at some point.
Well, he's got like superhuman superpower stuff.
Well, so describe to me. What does he have?
He's got
What does he have?
regenerative abilities too.
It's got superhuman strength and agility.
He was like genetically altered, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's all the first movie stuff.
That's
too.
he's strong enough to pull a helicopter out of the sky.
Does that help you with taking bullets to the leg, though? Can you still like
Sure.
run around?
I think he's got some regenerative
I think
ability
he could,
too.
he could probably heal a little faster.
So he's a Wolverine a little bit?
a little bit, not
Yeah.
like Wolverine. He's not Deadpool. But
Yeah.
There's got to be a little bit of that in there somewhere.
Okay, that's good because
Yeah.
Did they ever really describe his? I saw the first Captain America, and it was kind of like he's on steroids, and that was pretty much the description of what his superpower is.
That's basically it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
steroids that makes your legs numb. It's good.
Constant
yes,
steroids.
yes,
I'm pretty sure
yes.
steroids make your legs numb. Constant steroids. That's what he's on. Without the rage.
And without
Right,
the constant
right. Well-
having to inject himself, it's a one and done type of situation.
But he does have the raisin-sized testicles.
Yes, and very very large nipples.
Mhm.
Yeah.
God. Oh, jeez.
Uh,
That's what we don't realize. The helmet's actually the injection point.
Oh,
Every
maybe
time he
so.
puts it on, he
Maybe
gets
that's
little
what he got.
steroids.
like that Darth Vader thing from Empire, where he sits in the tube.
yeah.
Anyway,
So yeah,
lost me.
so where do you rank this one, Wombat, as far as your Marvel movies? You said you got away from that. I was interested.
You want to get a
I don't
definite
know.
answer, don't you, John?
yeah.
Well,
I'm
we
like,
didn't get to it. Come on,
I
we
mean,
keep going
it's
sidetrack.
definitely top 10. I don't know if it cracks the top
What does that
5.
say?
I
Wow,
mean,
not top 5.
A top 5 because I'm trying to think what my top 5 would be because you got Avengers.
Is that
and
number
you
one?
got
First Avengers?
Winter Soldiers. For me, I like Winter Soldier more than Avengers, but I think Avengers is a bigger movie. I don't know. I'm criteriizing things. So we got Winter Soldier, we got Avengers, we've got. I still really like the first Iron Man movie, maybe just because it started this whole thing.
I think it's
That
great.
movie-
I think it's a great movie.
The attitude of that movie was really seemed different. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed. I mean, the way that movie ended, where he's like, "I'm Iron Man," that just was completely not what you expect from your superhero movie, where you're going to have like, "Oh, Willie, who knows his secret identity?" Blah blah blah. So that was really cool.
I got to put Guardians of the Galaxy in the top 5.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
movie is amazing. Have you guys watched that?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rocket Raccoon is by far my favorite incarnation of a movie incarnation of a comic book character. So I think that alone puts Guardian of the Galaxy way up there for me.
Yes, that's a really good. That's a good movie. And what I was thinking? Oh, and also Spider-Man is really good.
Homecoming?
Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming. It's really good. So that might be my top 5. And I guess maybe Black Panther and Civil War tied for 6 and 7 right now. But again, Black Panther I've only seen once. So
I've never
I
seen
give
it.
it repeated viewing.
Skipped it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Good. You should go to see it in the theaters, man.
Like
The special effects in the world are crazy.
Yeah, I had one or two people be like, "It wasn't that good," and I was like, "Oh well, I'm not gonna like it." So I was like, I'm skipping
It
it.
has, and again, it's that whole Marvel thing where it's like the opening fight. Actually, the opening scenes in it are really good, and the middle fight scenes are really good. I think the end fight scene is a little.
I loved it. I loved it how hard,
Okay.
like, it was such a cool idea for a fight, like how sci-fi it was, and the little weird magnetic, I don't know what you call it, like train system they had going
the
on.
tram state monorails.
Yeah,
Monorails.
yeah. I liked it how that movie kind of played out like more like a sci-fi movie than a superhero movie.
I
Kinda.
like
It towards the end,
the James Bond middle is
Yeah.
the highlight of that movie. For
Yeah.
me. That's I guess another episode of this show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
soon to be on the top 250. Is it on the top 250? That's the question.
No, well, it might be now, but we've frozen beyond
This
that.
one
so-
is not on the top 250 anymore.
Oh, that
Oh, yeah,
doesn't
did it drop
surprise
out?
me.
It did. Black
Yeah.
Panther is not on the top 250.
Is
Oh,
Winter Soldier in the top 250?
It is not.
Wow, that's
Oh,
depressing.
dude, you have no idea. The top 250 is a pretty useless fucking list. I'll tell you right now. I'm very angry at the IMDb users every
Well,
week that I watch another movie and I go, God
Is,
damn
is
it.
Avengers in the top?
Yes,
250?
it is, but it's higher than this
Yeah.
one. We already watched that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
Yeah.
But part of it has to do with like when we froze it, there were movies that there are movies that just got released, and so they spike into the list,
Yeah.
and then they like trail off after a while. So a lot of modern movies would like spike in there, and then over time they get voted out more or less. So
Which
whereas,
makes
like, the
sense.
classics
Which
tends
is what we
stay up
failed to
there.
consider when we started this whole thing.
Did you guys hit
Yeah.
Citizen
Yeah.
Kane? Was that like an early episode?
Oh,
No, it's
we'll
higher
get
up.
there.
That's higher up there.
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to talk about that one.
Wait, this is the road to Shawshank Redemption, is what it is. That's
Yeah,
that's
really.
The
Oh,
pinnacle.
that's,
Isn't that
that's
nuts?
number one, right?
Number
It's always
Yeah,
number
yeah.
one. It hasn't moved.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is like
Solidly in there.
unassailable for
And you
whatever
think
reason.
Civil War makes no sense?
Oh, we're going to shit all over that one. It's going to be
Hey, we
great.
didn't make the list, man.
I
Yeah.
actually like that movie, but that's neither here nor there.
no,
also.
no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Citizen Kane, though, on the other hand.
Yeah, no worries.
Citizen Kane. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, let's not talk about that one.
I like Citizen Kane too.
Really?
That's good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Glad you do. Glad you do. Glad you
First,
do.
That's the first movie to have whatchamacallit, ceilings.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
First movie where they
Nice.
showed ceilings.
Tight.
Weird
Nice.
thing. A little bit of trivia for you.
It's a weird
Yeah.
tidbit.
Yeah. So, Wombat, this is the part of the podcast where I kind of go through my notes and see if you guys have anything funny or good or interesting to say. And if not, then I delete it from the episode.
And
All
it's
right.
usually, I mean, it usually has pretty solid notes, though. So
right.
Gotta
Yeah.
hear 'em
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Yes.
Have we stopped recording or are we still recording?
No, we're still recording.
no, no.
Still going.
Okay,
We're still
checking.
going, baby.
Why? So the scene where they're running through the subway and they're running faster than cars. Why the hell do they get in the cars? They're running faster than the cars. They're running faster.
Because, well, they have
Is he-
super speed and super stamina, but stamina only lasts so long.
Good answer. God damn it.
Also, cars blow up a lot cooler too. You get to have a lot of fun things happen when your cars or motorbikes blow up.
One of my
you know?
favorite shots in the movie is when Captain America's car is spinning and he opens the door and runs out of the spinning minivan that he's driving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. Someone kicks a helicopter. You think you could kick a helicopter and not break the helicopter's tail off of the helicopter?
Well, if I had like superpowers,
Don't you think that you would just snap the back of the helicopter off?
No, because it'll spin. It's free floating. It'll just
the
spin.
propeller was moving, so it's more the momentum because the propeller wants to push the helicopter that way.
Yeah.
He's just kind of moving the helicopter.
Holy shit, you're a
he's just
physicist. This
adding-
is amazing.
He's adding more force into the direction that the helicopter already wants to go because the top propeller was already broken.
Was it? Damn.
Was
Really?
it? I don't remember. Did it already? I thought he just like was smacking it off course. 'cause
Yeah.
I think he saw it fly in a little later.
It tips over. The
No.
top
The helicopter
blade breaks.
That's the one that's shooting at them when they're on top of the roof.
You guys are talking about different scenes.
Yeah.
Wombat's talking about when Winter Soldier is when Captain American's pulling that
right,
helicopter
not that
to the
scene.
side.
The scene where he's
No, you're
chasing him,
talking
jumps
about where-
across the roof, and then kicks
Right,
it.
Warhawk. Is it Warhawk? Who's the other flying guy? So we have
Falcon.
Falcon like kicks the rotor of the back tail.
And then it kind of goes
Makes it
down,
spins.
but then doesn't explode.
Yeah, because helicopters are designed to spin like that. I mean, that's how they like move. That's how they rotate direction.
helicopter work.
Have you ever been in a helicopter? That's bad news if you're in a helicopter and it's doing the spinny thing. It's not good.
Yeah, I wouldn't go in helicopters. Those things are unsafe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would
helicopters,
never do that either.
I was in a helicopter less than 6 months ago, and it was pretty awesome.
I know. I tried to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
You didn't listen.
The scene where they're showing, so there's one exposition scene in this movie that didn't work because I didn't understand it, but they were showing all the Avengers, all of the other movies they had been in, pretty much in short little clips. They were showing like the climax to each of the Avengers movies so far. You know what scene I'm talking about? Where it's like Avengers 1, here's the giant worm. Avengers 2, I don't know what this footage is.
Where William Hurt, also another just awesome guy, just dropping in to say hi. I'm in an Avengers movie. Where he like just goes and like, here's all the people you killed, and so they show like scenes from these movies where mass destruction happened. Right? Yeah. So at the end of that, they show all this footage, and then when they've shown literally all of the movies and all of the plot lines, Captain America goes, "Okay, that's enough."
Yes.
If he didn't say that, what are they going to do? They don't have no more footage to show. They're up to the current moment.
Well, he says that's enough, though, because they're lingering on somebody dying, I think, too.
Each clip was pretty much exactly the same length.
Scarlet Witch is the one who killed those people, and she was starting to look a little green.
A little peaked up. Yeah. Is she better in, for some reason, her character just seemed, I don't know. Was she better in Ultron?
No.
Or was that where she's in? Oh, okay.
Why is she so bad? She's a great actress.
She's only in those two.
Is she? What else is she in?
Godzilla.
Skip over that one. She was in
which one?
Marcia, Marlene,
no, the other one.
May, Marlene, or something like that.
I don't know.
It's not ringing any bells for me.
May, Marlene, Marcy.
Wasn't she in Brother for Sale? That's an Olsen twins joke. There's four people who laughed really hard at that, and it's not you guys.
No, definitely not.
But I didn't think, I don't know, for
Billboard
some reason.
Dad. I think she was in Billboard Dad.
I don't know if you're joking or not. I don't know what these movies are.
Yeah, I could never heard of these ones.
These are $1 billion franchise movies. And that is not a joke.
I feel bad for her because she's given the stupidest job, or she does it the worst, where she has to like move her hands around, and she obviously has nothing there. You know,
right? Yep. That's fair enough. That's like a good point. Yeah, because it just seemed like she's supposed to be all powerful, and yet she's kind of annoying and weird, and it just doesn't come off very well. I don't think in terms of like her powers or how they work.
Yeah.
Even though she at the same time she's super powerful.
When she does the stuff to Vision to get out is pretty cool. And if you look at what she's doing, you can actually see what she's doing with her hands. Where when she pulls apart her hands, that's when she's lowering the density of
right. She's like
Vision, and that's when he becomes invisible and Hawkeye can escape. Then when she puts her hands together, he gets really dense, and that's why he sinks.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
you had to look it up, didn't you?
No, I watched the movie like 25 minutes ago. Oh.
I guess it's tough because what she has to do is be kind of like a mime for her superpowers.
Yeah.
Which doesn't play off as well in some ways.
No.
I mean, mimes are talented. She's not a mime.
But can you make Paprikash?
Yeah. Paprikash?
Paprikash.
Paprikash is a whole different thing. I don't know.
Paprikash? This is not paprika. I'm going to the store. Congratulations, you're a criminal now.
Yeah.
That's the worst line in the movie, by the way.
Is it? I got some bad ones written down. I didn't want to get too negative, but can I read some of these off?
Yeah, go for it. No, I'm here for it.
You guys know I can move things with my mind, right? Terrible.
Yeah.
Fire and rescue on the south side of the building. Which building, Captain America? You've been running around the fucking city like crazy. Second half of that wasn't in the movie.
I understand that.
Yeah. He's dead, and I blame you. Thanks, exposition lady. Not knowing what she was talking about, and then actually reading up on it, it didn't seem like if you had read about it, and someone whose kid would have died in that would have read all up about it, you still really can't blame Iron Man because he was the one who saved the world from destruction.
Yeah, he saved most of the people in Sokovia too. He saved as many people as he probably could have. But there were casualties, and those people are pissed.
But does that not bother you?
Makes
how
sense.
The main part of this, like the plot of this movie, is based on a bad assumption, where they're pretty much good guys, and bad guys are killing people, and the good guys don't stop all of the deaths. Therefore, the good guys are bad guys. What?
Yeah, but that's a realistic. That's life. Not unrealistic in the sense of like the people whose family died. Like they're going to be upset. They're not going to be like, oh well,
blame Ultron.
my whole family died. Fair enough, but it's still, it's not an uncommon thing to assume that they're going to look directly at someone to blame. And Ultron's gone and not there. You want to blame somebody who's alive that you can direct your anger against. So, I mean, that's not too unrealistic. I think it's just sort of, I just see it as more of a downer when you start thinking that in that way, where, you can just think about all the lawsuits that would happen. For Tony Stark, he's got money. So every single person who was affected by the fall of that building because he created this AI, they could sue him in a civil suit. They could get money for this.
And Tony Stark would probably settle out of his own personal guilt.
Yeah, exactly. So they could just completely reduce.
I mean, that's the whole point of the whole MIT thing is he feels guilty.
Yeah, right. So he's just spreading money around. But you'd think eventually they could bankrupt the guy, and he's the one that's bankrolling the Avengers.
So this movie's about incorporating so you can't get sued by other people.
There you go.
That's why it's called. That's why it's called Civil War.
There you go.
Yeah.
They were going to call it Citizens United,
guys.
but that was yeah. It's full circle.
You haven't listened to this podcast enough. I drag it out until it's no longer fun and no one's having fun anymore. That's the.
So you mean you ended it 20 minutes ago?
Yes. Let's see.
Nice.
Captain America knew. When did he know about the parent thing? The Iron Man's parents. Did we learn that?
He knew in Winter Soldier.
Shit.
Oh, that's where we see the Easter egg.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was wait, what? How did he know? Is he lying right now?
No, he knew. Winter Soldier. You have to see it.
God damn it. I guess before this next one, I have to watch Winter Soldier, Iron Man 2 and 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I don't think you have to watch Iron Man 2 and 3.
No?
I think you're okay without those.
Yeah, you don't need to, there's nothing in Iron Man 2 or 3 that really comes back.
Just Winter Soldier? Is that the only important one?
Winter Soldier and I think you probably know enough about Age of Ultron, like Sokovia falls and kills people. That's really all you need to know about Age of Ultron.
Okay, good.
So I would say go watch Winter Soldier. Also, it's just a really good movie.
Okay.
It's got Batroc the Leaper in it.
That's a good name.
Yep.
The last thing I'm going to say about the movie before getting to trivia is something that always bothers me in movies, it doesn't make any sense, is when people turn giant, they start moving really slowly. Does that make sense to you guys?
Oh, yeah. Like when he's laughing and you see him kind of like...
Yeah.
And when he tries to grab people, he's like, imagine moving that slow. Yeah. Why do you become slow motion when you become giant?
Yeah, why doesn't everything just scale?
As someone who can grow to giant sized...
I have the answer here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, go then.
This is why you were
As you
here.
get larger and your veins get larger, it takes longer for blood to flow through your muscles, so your movements are slowed down due to the size increase.
Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes any sense.
But it involves anatomy, so it still seems reasonable.
Yeah.
But when your heart's bigger, so your heart should be able to pump more blood because it's bigger. Like everything should scale, right?
Yeah, if you got big and someone drained your blood to save people, would the blood scale down when you scaled back down?
I guess.
What?
You get big
idea.
and then you give a bunch of blood. Like you have a swimming pool full of blood, which was not that much blood for you because you're huge.
Wait. Huh?
All right, you're not following? So
you're saying that he should be getting big and donating blood?
Yes, exactly.
I'm just getting distracted by the pools of blood. What?
So you're
There's
Iron
blood
Man,
here,
you're Ant-Man, and you get big, and you're like, I'm going to donate because it's I don't know, some month where I should do that. And you go and they have to probably get a big needle and stick all the blood into a swimming pool because no one has plastic bags that big. But then you get smaller. Is the swimming pool still full of blood?
It's not that he has more blood. It's that the blood cells he has
are bigger.
Got bigger.
Yeah. Do they stay big? Is his
I don't
suit
know. Maybe
attached
once
to
they
him?
get they would shrink back down to regular size, and then you'd be disappointed.
Guys.
But there's probably a short period of time where you could sit on a red blood cell like it's a pool float.
Like an inner tube, yeah.
Can have a lazy river experience on a red blood cell.
That's
boy.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Any more thoughts before we get into this commentary information?
No. Just hit it.
Yeah. Assuming, Wombat, you're such a huge fan, you probably know all of this. But it's okay. Gonna go through it anyway. Black Panther. What was Black Panther? Here, so I'll just ask you these questions. What was Black Panther's costume made out of?
Vibranium.
Well, what was the... That's a good answer. I didn't ask a specific enough question. What did the filmmakers make Black Panther's costume out of?
I don't know, PVC?
CG effects the entire time.
Oh, PVC though. I like that. That was a good second choice. Yeah, we go in from vibranium. Don't know if that exists. To PVC.
I mean,
Definitely know that exists.
Yeah. Almost all of the characters' costumes are CG. No,
At some parts, like there are scenes where Spider-Man's suit is real, but they made a Black Panther suit, but they couldn't get it looking like they wanted to. So International Light and Magic painted over every scene with Black Panther in it to make it look like they wanted to.
Cool.
Wow.
So yeah,
Pretty impressive.
Let's see. The other Winter Soldiers are the stunt performers for the other actors.
Oh, really? Like that? So that's like Scarlett Johansson's stunt double.
Yes.
That's cool.
And it was
That's
an
a good
idea
twist.
because they all, like, the stunt performers are a huge part of this movie and they barely get any credit. So they worked away. Like the reason they're in there is because they had the idea of trying to work in the stunt performers into the movie.
Wow.
I like that's cute. That's good. That's a good piece of trivia.
Yeah.
Solid.
Good. Oh,
Solid.
man. Yes.
Solid trivia.
You can come back whenever you want to. Robert Downey Jr. is apparently extremely involved in coming up with ideas for the movie. He shot for 8 weeks in this movie, and every weekend he would host the writers, the director, and all the cast members to come over and have brunch and talk about ideas and come up with new ideas. And he came up with the idea for including the pens in the scene where they, like, him and Captain America kind of split up, the kind of bookend that little scene there, which everybody liked that idea. The bed scene sorry, not the bed scene. The scene where Spider-Man is on the bed and doesn't move his leg and he's like, move your leg. That was an ad lib by Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, really?
Because Tom Holland is a pretty new actor and forgot his blocking during that part. And Robert Downey Jr. was just like, move your leg. And it worked so well.
Yeah, that did work. I had wondered that because it seemed weird. It seemed out of place. Like it wasn't practiced. So
yeah.
That's really cool because it's like he's an awkward. It works really well since he's
he had that condescending. He had that
condescending
look on his face when he looked away from camera, left, and he was just like, "This fucking kid."
Yeah,
I'm working
new.
here.
What are you new? Come on, it's my line. You're fucking me up, kid.
But what's amazing about that really is that after however many movies, six or seven movies, Robert Downey Jr. has done, and how many times he's played Iron Man, and how much money he's made, he doesn't have to care anymore.
Right? That's a good point.
And he does a lot. It's great.
He does.
He does a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it shows. And I think that's why these movies are so
I think he's just used to work. I mean, he's good at working. It's like when you write music for 30 years, right? Like you don't always care about playing the song live, but you're just so good that it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Right?
So he wasn't actually signed. He wasn't contractually obligated to be in this movie, and they had to retouch the script up a couple times to get like a. Oh shit! I wish I could remember. It had something to do with him and his conflict with Captain America. Something specific about that caught his attention.
Wait. He wasn't going. I mean,
No.
how could this movie kind of? I mean, where's the conflict if it's not between him and Captain America?
No
It
idea.
would have been a completely different movie. It wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Originally, they announced it as a Serpent Society movie. That was the original announcement.
What is that?
They had Serpent Society was a group of villains that Captain America fought in really the late 90s. And then again, more recently, but they're basically a bunch of dudes that have snake powers.
Powers,
right?
Snake powers.
Yeah,
You know, like the King
Venom.
Cobra guy, and the guy whose neck is really long, and the one guy who could literally just open his mouth real wide like a snake with no jaw.
Okay.
And there's the girl named Diamondback who Captain America switches to the good side, and they wind up boinking a lot. It's fine. It's good comic book stuff, but as a movie, it probably would have come off very silly.
Yeah.
But they had that placeholder, that Serpent Society placeholder for like a year. And then they did that whole Comic-Con reveal where and here's our slate for next year. Don't forget, we got this and we got this and we got Captain America Serpent Society. Like, Serpent Society? That doesn't look right. And then they snapped their fingers or something ridiculous. And they switched it to Civil War and everyone went bananas.
Oh, man.
Because that's how it works.
That's good.
Yeah. It was a pretty good reveal.
Yeah. That is pretty cool how amped people are for these movies. I'm not sure. I mean, are there any other movies like this? I think people are more pumped for Marvel movies now than they are for Star Wars movies.
I know I am personally. And that's,
Yeah.
saying
I think
something.
probably it sort of depend. It might depend on the Star Wars movie, I guess. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of enthusiasm for Solo, for example.
People
But
like
for
the
various
trailer,
reasons.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard mixed things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm not
But there's
running
a lot of
out
worry,
to see Solo.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
Reshoots
Yeah.
are always scary when you hear there's being like reshot. You're like, oh, something went wrong. That's probably not good.
Yeah.
So the airport scene was the hardest to make. It was, so they said if you looked at the script from before they started shooting, the entire movie was pretty much exactly how it was, except for that airport fight scene. From the time they started writing the script to when they like finished the movie, they were working on it the entire time. There were a lot of characters with masks on purpose during that scene, so they could change the lines depending on what rewrites they were doing in terms of like the jokes they were doing and the relationships they were like showing during that scene. Yeah, so I mean, that was like the most expensive part, the hardest part. It was filmed 90% in front of a green screen, but it was very difficult for them. And they didn't shoot it like in one stint. They kept going back and reshooting it the entire time.
Wow.
They said they were done with the movie. The final cut was determined when they showed it to a screening audience, and they asked the people at the end, how many people sided with Iron Man's point of view, and half the people raised their hand, and the other half raised it for Iron Man. So there was
for Captain America?
Yeah, they
half,
split, and they're like, "All right, that's it, we're done."
That's what they wanted.
That's what they wanted.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more confused than anything about their motivations to be able to pick a side, and I don't know if that's just me or if that's what they were going for. Could have been that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
don't know.
the idea is like if they don't sign these accords, they're going to become fugitives sooner or later, right? If they don't sign, either they retire or they will be criminals.
I don't think so. I think if Iron Man didn't sign it, then they wouldn't have become criminals, right?
I thought that was if they continue to do what they're doing, then they're
who's going to stop them
vigilantes.
if they're all on the same side?
That's a fair enough point, I guess. But I thought that seemed to be the implication. Like you either sign this or you retire, and if you don't do either of those things,
but who are they to say anything? They're the freaking Avengers. They save the world. Who's going to stop them?
Right. But are they gonna fight back when the military comes? Or are they gonna kill
Captain
soldiers?
America isn't gonna kill a U.S. soldier.
But he's technically going against what the U.S.'s decision is, right?
Sure. I know gets a little confusing.
He doesn't agree with the U.S.'s.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate patriot, but that doesn't mean he has to agree with his country's decisions.
Right.
Because it's your right as an American to protest.
It's true.
Yeah, but I don't
Captain
know.
America sides with the guys who kneel at a football game.
Oh, there you go.
You just lost this half audience. Fuck.
Yeah, we're just going.
That's all right. Anytime we make fun
difficult
of Jesus, it goes down
territory
to yeah, it's okay. But yeah, so that's interesting though, because in this sense, I mean, he does that. I feel like his motivation is purely personal, not necessarily practical, right? This is his friend. This is
again, you guys had the last movie, the one before
right.
it. The government organization that he was working for and was loyal to turned out to be not so great.
Oh, right. But what's his alternative then? If he doesn't sign it, is he have to just go into hiding and just be secretive at that point? I guess that's what you'd have to do, right? Like if you're not going to sign those accords, then truly you have to go underground. Tony Stark can't do that.
Yeah, but Captain America can. He could go underground.
Yeah. Some of these people could, like, they could go into hiding or whatever. I guess,
which is actually
that's his style. So he's like, I'm cool with that.
You should just go back to the ice block until everybody dies, and then come back to life. It's an option. Yes. It's always an option.
I didn't know it was an option for him. Yeah.
Well, it's an option for Winter Soldier at the end of this movie.
I guess so. Yeah. So he could do it too.
So they talked a lot about arguing against the need to kind of realistically make stakes for the lives of the Avengers. And that was an issue I had with the movie where this one especially feels like no one's going to die, especially because they're fighting against each other the entire time. And that especially rang true. And I think they removed a lot of the stakes when the Don Cheadle War Machine character should have died. He should have died in that scene, I think, personally. But the fact that they let him live and like they're always going to be crippled. Oh, but no, he's not because it's Tony Stark. Right. And now he has like robot legs. So like,
he'll
what the hell?
Suffer, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
In the comic book version of Civil War, there's a C-list superhero death that basically ends it. So, the War Machine dying.
He's C, right? Is he B or C?
He's C.
He's C. I agree. Yeah, he's C. Sorry, Cheadle. Yeah, but
yeah.
Tony refers to him as his roadie.
Yeah. There's in the comic book, it's a Goliath, I believe, who's
that
like Giant Man, Ant-Man, Giant Ant-Man, but another guy, Bill Foster.
They really run out of ideas, huh? Because War Machine is just Iron Man and Giant Man is just Giant Ant-Man. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And Goliath gets killed by a robot Thor that Iron Man built. I mean, that's, again, we're talking comic books. So it's gonna be always sound really dumb when you say it out loud. So Iron Man built a robot Thor, and that robot Thor kills Goliath by shooting a lightning bolt through his chest and making a giant hole.
You can't. It's so true, though. It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, does he? Oh, does he? Oh, really? What happens next? Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, to kill War Machine wouldn't have been completely out of left field. But there's also that part of me that's like, but how does Vision come back from that?
Right.
And why is Vision okay with that? Because he's not upset with any of them, right? He's just like, oh, I'm back. Hey, I'm in the team again. Even though you just shoved me into the center of the earth, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, because he's a robot.
Is he a robot?
Yeah.
He's a robot that has Mystique superpower
Yes.
and also Nightcrawler superpower.
Are we still talking about Don Cheadle?
No.
I know. I'm joking.
But he can't change his face.
Sorry. That was a dig. That was a dig.
That was good. That was good.
Anyway, that's enough of this. I'm hanging up on you guys now. It's been a great show. Thanks for having me.
Well, I have you all here. Today is my last day.
I got a couple more quick things, real quick.
All right.
This is what Danny does.
So
This is
yeah,
what Danny
sorry,
does. He
I just really
prolongs
make
the
it very
death.
unpleasant towards the end. You know what? Oh, so the last thing I wrote down is that, and Wombat, you probably agree with this. When Captain America drops his shield, it's apparently a very obvious indication that he's leaving the Avengers. Agree? Disagree? Thoughts?
Well, he leaves the Avengers, but he doesn't leave Tony.
Right, because of his letter at
Right.
the end.
He's still saying he's there for Tony
What's
if
the
Tony
difference?
needs him.
Why make the difference?
Because
just being dramatic.
And again, I think it's something, I'm going to say that there's real craftsmanship here, and that these are characters that learn from other characters. And, he's learned from Black Widow that it's not about loyalty to a team or an ideal. It's loyalty to the people that matter.
Gotcha.
There you go.
And
That'll
that's what
be
he-
my.
that-
So he
that's
doesn't like the
something he's
UN.
learned
You're
over
saying
his,
Captain
story
America
arc.
is anti-UN.
It's not that he's anti-UN. It's that he's learned that, you can't always put the ideal ahead of the individual. And that the person may be more important than the whole idea. That
And that's
it's
like
not the
opposite-
Avengers that make
Right.
it's not the idea of the Avengers as a team that's important. It's the people that are the Avengers are what's important. And once you no longer believe in the people, that's when it's a problem.
Okay. And like you were saying, like that more, the earlier movie, that was kind of, he was the opposite of that, right?
Exactly.
Like
It starts
that
off where it's the opposite, where he's he's the soldier. It's the mission.
Mhm.
These are his orders. He goes and he does them. And it's throughout the course of that movie that he learns, it's not always, what if the orders are wrong? What do you do?
I like that. That makes sense. I didn't take that
That
away.
makes sense.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. But Wombat, you haven't watched some of these movies, but would you personally put Captain America Civil War in the top 250 movies ever made?
Ever made?
Ever made.
Ooh, I like
Probably
this.
not. I could probably think of
Ooh.
250 movies that are better than this movie.
The fact that you can think of 250 movies, period, is impressive.
I have a degree in film studies.
Oh.
The Ringer.
Yeah.
I am educated. So I've seen at least 250 movies. It's really just The Shining 249 times, followed by Citizen Kane. But,
Oh, boy. Jeez.
So
Yeah.
John, would you?
I don't think so.
Do I even have to ask?
What do you think?
What? Huh?
You were so vocal during the episode. I feel like you might
Oh,
have.
no. I know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say no too. But yeah, Wombat, we want to thank you very much for being on this episode. You made it much smarter than we would have ever been able to do.
Yes. That I will agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you want to say what kind of podcasts you're on, your Twitter handle, however
Right,
people
right,
get
yeah.
to you and stuff?
Let's hear that.
sure, you could always listen to my show, the CAGCast. It's CAGCast. It's usually we do one a week. It's me and my friends Cheapy D and Shipwreck, and we talk about video games and other things for too long. And
So you know how this goes.
Yeah, you know exactly how this goes. Right.
And you could follow me on Twitter at New Wombat, and there you go.
Awesome.
Hey.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
It's been an honor, man. Thank you.
It has been.
I had more fun as an audience member than I did as a podcast member this time. So. You're very well spoken. It was very well enjoyed.
My work is done.
Yes.
Yes.
So since you need to get to bed, I'm gonna do the little what we're doing next week afterwards and let you go if that's better for you. Does that matter to you?
Sure, that's fine. I could hang up. And
Do you want to hear me talk about No Country for Old Men for 2 minutes or not?
No. You should let him
I'm
go.
gonna hang up now.
Okay,
and you guys
cool.
can finish your show.
Yes.
I'll send
All right.
you my file in the Skype chat.
Awesome.
Oh, perfect.
Sounds good.
Thank you, man.
Thanks a
Appreciate
lot,
it.
dude.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
And next week we are watching the 2007 movie No Country for Old Men, directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. You guys pumped?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Yeah, thanks again to Wombat.
Thank you, Wombat.
Yeah,
That
go to our
was good.
website.
It was a damn good.
Mission250filmcast.com is the website. Email us at mission250filmcast@gmail.com. Go to, I don't know, whatever, Twitter,
Go to
iTunes,
someplace.
Facebook. I don't know what you people listen to us on. There's so many goddamn apps these days.
On the interwebs.
Rate us. Give us 5 stars.
Timmy.
Timmy likes 5 stars.
Good.
What did Timmy think about Captain America?
Oh, fuck you.
Timmy's been on a bad roll recently.
Yeah, he's been having a rough time.
Timmy lives in a bad role, so it's all good.
Yeah, Timmy's shut in the closet most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Shut the
That's
fuck
high.
up, Timmy. All right, fuck. That type of shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All
All right,
cool.
boys. This was fun.
It
It
was.
was entertaining.
Yeah. Cool. I will talk to you guys next week.
All right, boys.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Later.
Later.
Do not touch me again.
Then don't take my stuff.
You have no idea what you are dealing with.
Shakespeare in the Park?
You here with a mission, sir?
I am.
Is not this simpler? That man is playing Gallagher. Is this not your natural state?
So, this all seems horrible.
Please tell me nobody kissed me.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
I don't give anything.
You know, I thought we were having a moment.
I was having 12% of a moment.